There is a man walking down the street, and if you were to ask him about his friends, he would smile and say he has none. Not because he's disagreeable or strange, but because he has seen through one of the most persistent jokes that life plays on us. He has discovered that the very idea of needing friends, of requiring others to complete him, is like a wave worrying that it might be separate from the ocean. Now, this troubles most people terribly. What if our desperate need for friends is actually what keeps us from seeing the most obvious truth of all? And from this fundamental misunderstanding comes all our loneliness, all our anxiety about being liked or accepted or remembered. But the man who walks alone has seen the joke. He has realized that there are no separate islands at all. There is only the ocean, pretending to be divided. Let me tell you something curious. The harder you try to make friends, the more elusive friendship becomes. It's like trying to catch your own shadow. You can run toward it all day, but it will always dance just out of reach. The man who has stopped chasing shadows has discovered that friendship was never something to be acquired in the first place. It was something to be recognized. Think about it. What are you really looking for when you seek a friend? Someone to understand you. But who is this you that needs to be understood? Someone to share your experiences with. But who is having these experiences? Someone to laugh with you at life's absurdities? But who is this one who finds things absurd? The more deeply you look, the more you realize that the one who seeks friends and the one who could be a friend are not two different things after all. We suffer from a case of cosmic amnesia. We have forgotten that we are not separate individuals bumping into each other accidentally in an indifferent universe. We are expressions of the same fundamental reality, like waves on the same ocean, like branches on the same tree. The wave that thinks it needs to find other waves to be complete has simply forgotten that it is already water. The branch that worries about connecting with other branches has forgotten that it is already part of the tree. This is why the man who walks alone is not lonely. He has remembered what he really is. Not this small, isolated ego that needs constant validation and companionship, but the vast awareness within which all experiences arise. He has seen that the question, who am I and who are you, have the same answer. And when you see this, really see it, the whole problem of friendship dissolves like morning mist. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not suggesting we become hermits or that human relationships are meaningless. The man who walks alone doesn't avoid people or reject companionship. He simply doesn't cling to it. He doesn't need it to feel complete. He can enjoy the company of others without depending on it for his sense of worth or identity. It's rather like the difference between a desperate man dying of thirst and someone enjoying a cool drink on a warm day. The thirsty man gulps frantically, never tasting what he drinks, always afraid it will run out. The other person sips slowly, appreciating each drop, but knowing that his essential nature doesn't depend on the drink. He is already whole. Most of us approach friendship like the desperate man approaches water. We gulp down attention, approval, companionship, always afraid we won't get enough, always comparing how much we have to how much others have. We keep score. We measure our worth by how many people call us, invite us, remember our birthdays. But the man who walks alone has discovered the secret. He is not thirsty. He never was thirsty. The idea that he needed something from others was just a dream. And here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you stop needing friends desperately, you begin to attract them naturally. People are drawn to those who are complete in themselves. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't cling, who doesn't demand, who doesn't constantly seek validation. They radiate a kind of freedom that others find irresistible. But even this attraction is not the point. The man who walks alone isn't trying to be magnetic or attractive. He has simply stopped the exhausting game of pretending to be incomplete. He has stopped acting as if he were a separate self, in need of external completion. And in stopping this act, he has discovered his true nature, which was never separate from anything at all. You know, we have this strange idea that consciousness belongs to individuals, that awareness is something each person possesses privately, like a wallet or a watch. But what if consciousness is more like space itself? Space doesn't belong to the objects within it. The space in this room is not different from the space in the next room. It's all one space, appearing to be divided by walls and boundaries that exist only at a certain level of description. In the same way, the awareness that you call yours and the awareness that others call theirs is the same awareness, appearing to be divided by the boundaries of individual bodies and personalities. But these boundaries are like the walls in space, real enough at one level, but ultimately illusory. The man who walks alone has seen through the illusion of separate awarenesses. He has realized that consciousness looking out through your eyes is the same consciousness looking out through everyone else's eyes. We are not separate beings having similar experiences. We are the same being having the experience of apparent multiplicity. This is why he doesn't feel lonely. How can you be lonely when you are everyone? How can you lack companionship when every person you meet is another version of yourself? It's like an actor complaining that he has no one to talk to while he's on stage alone, forgetting that he's playing all the characters in a one-man show. But let's be practical about this. You might say, this all sounds very philosophical, but I still feel alone. Just talk to them. I still crave connection. I still want someone to understand me, to care about me, to share my life with me. And of course you do. These feelings are natural and human, and not to be denied or suppressed. The question is not whether you feel these things, but how you relate to them. Do you take them to be the final word on your condition? Do you believe that your happiness depends on satisfying these cravings, or can you see them for what they are? Movements in consciousness, temporary weather patterns in the sky of awareness. The man who walks alone has learned to watch his own loneliness with the same detached interest that he might watch clouds passing across the sky. He doesn't resist the feeling or try to fix it or run away from it. He simply observes it arising and passing away, like everything else, in experience. And in this observation, something remarkable happens. The feeling loses its power to disturb him. It becomes just another dance in the great performance of consciousness. This is not cold detachment or emotional numbness. It's freedom. Freedom from being at the mercy of every temporary state that arises in consciousness. The man who walks alone can feel lonely without being lonely, can experience the desire for connection without being enslaved by it. And paradoxically, this freedom makes him more capable of genuine connection, not less. Because he's not approaching others from a place of neediness or desperation. He can meet them as they actually are, not as projections of his own unfulfilled desires. He can love without possessing, enjoy without clinging, connect without losing himself in the other person. You see, most of what we call friendship is really a form of mutual neediness. Two incomplete people trying to complete each other, two empty cups trying to fill each other up. But you can't fill an empty cup with another empty cup. The man who walks alone has discovered that he was never empty in the first place. He is the fullness itself, and from that fullness, genuine relationship becomes possible. Think about the sun. The sun doesn't need to receive light from other stars to shine. It shines because shining is its nature. And because it shines so brilliantly from its own essence, it illuminates everything around it. Other celestial bodies are drawn into its gravitational field, not because the sun is trying to collect them, but because of the natural magnetism of its completeness. The man who walks alone is like this. He has discovered that his essential nature is not needy or incomplete, but radiant and whole. And from this wholeness, he naturally illuminates the lives of everyone he encounters. People are drawn to him, not because he's trying to make friends, but because he radiates the very quality that everyone is looking for in friendship, the recognition of their own completeness. But here's where it gets interesting. The more complete he becomes, the more he realizes that his completion was never personal in the first place. It's not that he, as an individual, has become whole. It's that he has recognized the wholeness that was always already the case. He has seen that what he really is was never broken, and therefore never needed to be fixed. This realization changes everything. When you know that you are not a separate self trying to connect with other separate selves, but rather the one consciousness appearing as many selves, then every encounter becomes a meeting with yourself. Every conversation becomes an internal dialogue. Every relationship becomes a dance between different aspects of the same being. The man who walks alone has not rejected relationship, he has discovered what relationship really is. Not two separate things trying to become one, but one thing playing at being two. Not isolation overcoming loneliness, but wholeness recognizing itself in apparent multiplicity. And this is why he can walk alone without being lonely, why he needs no friends yet is everyone's friend, why he seeks no company yet is never truly apart from anyone. He has solved the riddle of human connection by seeing that there was never a riddle in the first place. There was only the one consciousness, pretending to be many, searching for itself in all the wrong places. Now you might wonder, how does one become this man who walks alone? Is there a method, a practice, a technique? And here's the beautiful joke. You already are this man. You have always been this man. The one who walks alone is not someone you become. It's what you discover you already are. When you stop pretending to be something else. The search for friends, the fear of loneliness, the desperate need for connection, these are all activities of thought, stories told by the mind about what you are and what you need. But what you actually are is the awareness in which these stories appear and disappear. You are not the character in the story who needs friends. You are the author, writing all the characters, the consciousness in which the entire drama of relationship unfolds. To recognize this, you don't need to do anything special. You simply need to stop doing something artificial. Stop believing in the story of separation. Stop taking your thoughts about yourself so seriously. It's like an actor who has become so absorbed in playing a character that he has forgotten he's acting. He doesn't need to learn how to be himself. He just needs to remember that he was acting all along. The man who walks alone has remembered. He has seen through the elaborate game of hide and seek that consciousness plays with itself. He knows that everyone he meets, everyone he might call friend or stranger, is the same consciousness wearing a different mask. How can space feel isolated? How can consciousness lack companionship with itself? But let's not make this into another spiritual concept to grasp or achievement to attain. The man who walks alone is not someone special or enlightened in any dramatic sense. He is simply someone who has stopped believing a story that was never true in the first place. He is anyone who pauses long enough to notice that the awareness reading these words right now is the same awareness that has always been present in every moment of experience. This awareness doesn't come and go. It doesn't feel lonely or connected, fulfilled or empty. It simply is, and everything else, including the story of being a separate self in need of friends, appears within it like clouds in an empty sky. The clouds may be stormy or peaceful, but they never disturb the sky itself. So when the craving for friendship arises, when the fear of being alone grips you, when the story of separation seems overwhelming, remember this. You are not the cloud of loneliness passing through awareness. You are the sky itself, vast and open and untouched by whatever weather may be moving through it. The man who walks alone is not different from you. He is you without the story of separation. He is what remains when you stop trying so hard to be someone who needs fixing, completing, or connecting. He is the recognition that what you have always been is already whole, already connected to everything, already free. And in this recognition, the walking continues. But it's no longer the walking of a separate individual through an alien world. It's the walking of consciousness through its own infinite possibilities, the movement of the one appearing as the many, the dance of existence celebrating itself in the form of a man who appears to be alone, but knows himself to be everything. This is the secret of the man who has no friends and walks alone. He has discovered that he is not alone because he is everyone, and he needs no friends because he is the friendship itself, the very capacity for connection that makes all relationships possible. In seeing this, he finds not isolation, but the deepest intimacy with life itself. And perhaps in reading these words, you too are beginning to remember. Perhaps you too are recognizing the man who walks alone, not as someone else, but as your own deepest nature, calling you home to the wholeness you never actually left.